Okay, guys. Last year, you've seen a guy wearing Japanese outfits. This year, you've seen Igor Mihajlo wearing this clown suit. So this time, I'm also wearing something related with my presentation, and I'm working with Magento 3 years only, and I've seen many projects that collapsed under its own weight. And developers were like buying all of the resources of Xanax from local pharmacies, and the bosses were yelling on Friday evening at their employees. So could we avoid that? My friend Eva invited me to the construction site of second line of Warsaw underground construction, and then getting through the tunnels, I started to wonder how they managed that to build such an important investment without failures. So I came to the idea that maybe there's something that we can learn from them. So 10 years ago, Warsaw capital city of Poland, started to just investigate what we need, what traffic we need to handle, what route should there be, and what stations should underground system have. And then they found the main constructor that will provide do the whole job and maintain the people, the subcontractors. They selected the vendors of external systems of different solutions, and then they just started to build it and finish it up. Does it remind you of something? We go to our clients, we do the workshops to find out what are the real needs of our customers. That's the similar situation. The capital city is putting the expected roads. We are putting the expected integrations, the expected payment methods, shipping methods, etc. So that's pretty the same. We offer architecture. We have to manage the subcontractors. So when the single part of delivery is coming to the construction site, they just check if everything fits the expected quality, expected amount. We do the unit tests. When on the construction site, they check if everything fits each other. We do integration tests. When they check one after another, the trains are passing by through all the stations from one end to another. They just check if everything works correctly. They do the escape trainings. We do the same. We do acceptance testing. And you can see that we do the functional testing at the end of project, at the end of release. So there should be a GIF. But they expected me to put a PDF, so I will show it. It's the same, but different, but still the same. So what I want to show you, we do exactly the same job that constructions, that's the way that constructions are done. So my mission for the first part of this presentation is there are no more excuses. You cannot say, I don't know how to test it. I don't know how to test the integration. Because if construction experts, if the engineers don't know which way the train should go, they don't start building the metro, the underground. It doesn't make sense. Why we start? Why we do something that we are not sure about? How many this year you heard the excuse, I have no time for testing. Functional testing, end-to-end testing takes too much time. That's only excuse. So no more excuses. We should learn from engineers. So 2 years ago, I went to Mage Test Fest, and it was blast. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it, and I met Tom Erskine there. Tom was presenting the first version of MFTF. MFTF is Magento Functional Testing Framework, and it's made of two things that QA engineers already know. That is Selenium and Allure. The only new joiner to that pack was Codeception. Codeception transfers PHP code into Selenium instructions that are known for QA engineers. So at that point, I don't have numbers, but currently we have 1,400 end-to-end tests that you can use. So that was the pain reliever for the excuse, I don't know how to test, I don't want to spend time on tests. And then we didn't have to wait too long, because during MageCONF 18, also Tom Erskine, that wasn't MageCONF, that was MTF, Mage Test Fest in Florence, 2018. He mentioned that Marketplace will be integrating MFTF tests that you submit into the Marketplace workflow and the front end, so that commitment to quality can be demonstrated to potential customers. So you see, something that was presented year before, now, this year in March, previous year, sorry, was mentioned as a thing that will come to the market as a benefit to extension developers. And then this year, at the beginning of September, we've had Meet Magento New York, that Amasti team presented the great talk about MFTF. Igor Gorin, who is managing this guy who just spends the money on people, mentioned that they are seeing extensions with MFTF coverage. And I came here today at 10, and I've already heard 3 people who I spoke to on Magento Imagine that introduced already the functional tests after discussion with me on Imagine. So I see that it's passing by, but let's go under the surface, because that's why you are here. To run MFTF, it's not rocket science, like Alex said today afternoon. It's enough if you use your Docker setup. You can add only 4 lines to have a debug version of Selenium, and then you can run your headless browser. The only issue, like always with Magento, is issue with versioning. So the latest version of Selenium you can run is 3.A1, and that is mentioned on a slide, so you can take picture. If you're running standalone version, you also have to take 3.8.1 version that is compatible with MFTF. Okay, thanks for pictures. Okay, I will go further. And now, your best friend from now is vendorbe and MFTF, because he will be your companion all across your way. It has only a few instructions that you can actually run, but at the very beginning, your host will be vendorbe MFTF build project. It generates a set of configuration files, but the most important is .env file that contains a set of instructions. I will just briefly describe that. You can set the base URL that Magento is running. You can set the admin username and admin password. This admin account has to exist and has to be the root admin account. And you can also provide the Selenium host and the browser name, because you can run Chrome, you can run Firefox. So this way, you just tell Codeception which instructions, which specific instructions it should run, and then it's all ready. You can run your friend. You can call your friend vendorbe MFTF and then test run, and then provide the test name. My favorite is admin login test. It's just always to check if everything works. And when you run it, you can see, you can preview the browser of Chrome or Firefox that you previously ran. And on the left, in this slide on the left-hand side, you have the preview, what is actually happening on the screen. So in this slide, you see that it's I click admin data grid, bookmarks, admin drop down, for example. So you see what's going on the browser, and you can see actually what browser does. And to run single test, to generate single test, I don't know why I wrote on the slide that it generates set of tests, but it generates tests, and then after generating tests, it doesn't regenerate it because you have to clean it up before next run. Anyway, if you want to run multiple tests, you just have to call codesept and run functional tests using previously generated configuration file. So it just runs the generated tests. How does it actually work? If you've been to Alex's presentation, he described it slightly different, but for me, it's the core of the solution is like you get the core Magento core elements, resources. Then you take into consideration the extensions. So if you have an extension installed, that extensions will customize, will extend the functionality of core Magento. And then, if you have your own customizations, you can override both Magento core and extensions, and you can extend them. That was perfectly described by Alex, so I don't want to overlap. How it looks like, how it should look like. It should look like on the slide because the test should be made of repetitive parts of code that are called action groups. Action groups is like a class for PHP that you put set of instructions, set of actions that should be performed and should be repetitive. For some of them, you can pass arguments so that even if the instructions are different in some way, like you want to admin as a different admin, you can provide different arguments to action group. How it shouldn't look like, and you will find it in the Magento currently. We are refactoring that. Some of the tests contain of single instructions like fill field, and we select which field should get what data. But actually, you should be aware of action groups, and you should use action groups. So action group looks like on the screen. You can, in action group that has a unique name, you can put the set of instructions that you expect from Selenium to be done. And in this specific case, it navigates to admin page, it fills the username and password field, and clicks the login button. Then after logging in, it closes the admin notification. And that's done. You may see that there are strange references with double brackets inside. So what we actually do, like user input here, like user inputs username and admin user username and password. It doesn't make sense to put the data, the exact data in test. So what we actually do, we create the entities. The entities are stored in data files, and you can provide their default admin user, admin with wrong credentials, normal admin. You can define your own entities and reuse them across the tests. What is more, you've already seen on test that we can refer to, in this action group there is visible more, that we refer to admin login page URL. So each of the pages, if of the type of pages in Magento, you can describe with page XML file. and you put the URL that is specific for this specific, specific for that page, and in which area it works. So page contains of sections. For example, in admin login page, you have section of admin login form, but you have also notification section. So in sections, we just describe what elements we want to use on that page. In this specific case, admin login form section contains of username, password, sign in button, and forgot password link. And then you can just refer to that with this double bracket, like we've done on this action group, that we refer to admin login form section username, admin login form section password. That's something that is really helpful, because if you change the class name, or if you change the ID of element, if you change the type of element, you can easily replace just section, and all the tests pass by without extra hassle. And we finished with that's what happens under the hood. If you want to show your customer what's going on your project, if it passes or not, if it works or not, there is standard known for QA engineers, and that standard is alors. Alors just generates HTML pages that are easy to get through, and as you may see, there is a percentage of tests passed, and you have the details which tests take what percentage. You can categorize your tests. So if some tests are passing, you can preview what actions were performed. If some are not, you can see even the screenshot of that failing test, and you can download the source code of the page that was generated, but that was downloaded to check what was wrong, if that element doesn't exist, if something wasn't loaded, if image wasn't loaded. So that's something that actually helps you to debug, but also is friendly, user-friendly, that you can show your customer what actually is going on. And with continuous integration, with continuous deployment, you can integrate alors easily, as, for example, Jenkins supports it out of the box. Where we aim to be more readable. It's something that was discussed at the beginning of the year, because we want to make it easy to use for both for developers and for business. So we aim to show the output that contains all the necessary data to debug, but also to have the content that shows up what actually was done, and without messy stuff around. And that is something that you may know from BDD, from different solutions like Behat. And the most asked question on previous conferences was, hey, but what if I want to use Venia, the new PWA theme, or if I want to use Vue Storefront, sorry. If I want to use Vue Storefront, there's no issue with that, because it's compatible. You change the selectors, and that's done. You can use it with different frontend. You don't need to make extra hassle to integrate that with your PWA solutions. Another question I get on different conferences, especially on Magento Poland, because there are fans of Cypress. What's the benefit of, what's actually the competition? But the part of the answer is, what is the benefit of MFTF when Cypress is so easy to implement that I can even put intern by the computer and he will write like 70 tests a day? So my answer is, okay, you can put intern by the computer, he will write 70 tests by day, but then maintenance of such tests are extremely difficult, because if you change one thing, There is no repetitive elements, no reusable elements that you can include in each other. That's one of the things that I noticed. And second one, is that you don't have this 1400 tests already. You have to write everything on your own. You don't cover the admin login and that admin actions. So you have to do everything on your own, and if someone else is going to find a bug in Magento and fix it, you will not be aware if you are not following each of the pull requests to MFTF. Another competition is Behat. Behat is traditional BDD syntax-based. You have to write your own interpreter and write your test scenarios. That's really friendly, that's really handy to test, but still, you don't have this test coverage, and you have to write your own Gherkin interpreter to interpret the methods, the instructions into your own actions on Codeception. And you use already MFTF. You want to get the most of it. So guys from Zalando reached me on PHP Summit in Poland, and they said to me, okay, we have Selenium compatible solution that lets you to cover multiple browsers and platforms. That is open source, and you can just change the Selenium URL with their solution, and you will get the coverage of multiple versions of browsers and multiple browsers itself. So I checked, it works, so I recommend. And MFTF is not only about Magento. You can test even Google. If you think like you want to test if after redirection from Google your page displays the proper information, you can do it. You just write the handler for page, write the sections, and you can put your own scenario for a website that is not based on Magento. Even payments providers, redirection to payment provider, the sandbox actions, and getting back to the system. So I like porks. I really missed them in Berlin. I love meat. So I came back and I really wanted to show you up that I integrated MailHog that lets you to test if the mails were delivered properly, if there are no missing placeholders in emails. How often it happens like, hello, first name. Today we have recommendations for you, and then placeholder for products. So with that solution, with MailHog, you can, using MFTF, you can check if all the emails are delivered properly. And you can write your own handlers in minutes. So the question is, MFTF, is it worth it for extension developer? Yes, it is. And I really love it that I can run the project from the scratch and have set of tests already done. And actually, that's my car. So I'm not finishing yet, but I'm Łukasz, and I came here from Poland. I'm here for 4th time. It's 3rd MageCONF for me, and I'd like to get 2 questions because I have 2 more slides.
Thanks for your presentation. And do you have the information about how fast is it working?
So it depends on the environment, but for me, locally, when I run not the best configuration, it's like 16 hours to 20 hours to run them all.
How many tests it was?
1400.
Okay,
but
thanks.
it's not linear. It depends on environment. If you introduce Redis, Varnish, if you use Elasticsearch indexers, if you create bigger fixtures, that depends. But it's not something you should run on each pull request. It's something that you should run before the release.
Okay, thanks.
Hello. I have a question about testing dynamic data. What if I wrote a test? I introduce new feature, let it be new field on product page, and I want to check if this field appeared on all pages. Should I write different tests for each SKU, or is it possible to dynamically substitute this, for example, in a loop?
I'm not sure. I will check it for you and will catch you up later. Because I'm not sure about the answer, so we can discuss that. Oh, okay. Alex wants to answer.
Hi. As I told today on my presentation, please use action groups. Let's say you want to check a storefront page that you see product name and price, but then you added tags for your product and you want to substitute to all tests. If you will write your test based on action groups, and you will have one single action group which will verify storefront product name and price, you will add this new field into this action group, and this field will appear on each test which uses this action group. So that's also why it is important to use action groups. Thanks.
Okay, so thanks, Alex. Any questions on the room also?
So hi, I have one question. So what is requirements for running these tests? Like for instance, some QA engineer could run it. What should be like prerequisites for running it?
Okay, so there are two cases. One case is when you run the test on the same environment that you run the store. So then you will have the requirement of all requirements of Magento, and then MFTF is delivered with it. And then you just have to install the Selenium and Chromie WebDriver on your own, or use the Docker image. Other case is when you want to run independent instance of MFTF. Then you have to fulfill only the requirements of MFTF, but there is one hatch, because installing MFTF, you need the Magento core. You need the Magento core because the reusable elements that we covered with the slides, that we use the action groups, we use the data that is defined in Magento core. It actually downloads the whole Magento with Composer, and that might be the side effect, because your test environment should be updated to along the production environment, but you can run it independently. And then the requirement is still PHP, like everything the same like for Magento. Okay, so we'll stop with questions. I will catch you up on the corridor, and I have two more slides for you. One is Alex cut me up because I was expected to run it on the beginning of September. It's online course. It's full training with online tests, with videos on MFTF that you can onboard yourself. Due to some issues on my project that I had at work at Strix, I had to just postpone that, but if I'm lucky to do that tomorrow, I should submit the first 3 videos and then continuously upload more for you. So you can subscribe for MFTF online. And second stuff, I like you to be superstars. Every contributor for me is superstar, so you can be one of them, and share your experience. It doesn't matter if you're a programmer, if you are a QA engineer, just share your experience with others, and you will get the valuable feedback. There's nothing more than experts who review your code, your tests, your changes, and give you valuable feedback. I put 3 companies that are from Poland, actually. I should update that for Ukraine, because you have really superstars. We have only 15, 19, and 23rd position. you are the superstars. Ukraine is superstars country because you have really awesome companies that do the tremendous job with contribution. And I feel your spirit. I hope that you will use this spirit and contribute more. And there are projects like Magento 2 Functional Testing Framework, Magento Functional Test Migration, and Architecture. Because if you don't like Magento, instead of complaining, just sit and propose your architectural change to improve that. Complaining is nothing, but changing the world to be better is really super job. And last slide. There's no, that's okay. That was 2 slides. That were 2 slides. So yeah, that's all from me. Sorry.